Hey everybody, how's it going? It's the Daily Shooter, and today I want to talk about a very important topic that I think just needs to be talked about, and that is, should we be prepping for the election? Now, it's crazy to think that that's even a topic in the United States, but with things so polarized lately, with the left and the right becoming so separated in our country, really seeming to be torn in two directions, it's one of those things that's just become a reality. And so regardless of the outcome of the election, we could be seeing some serious issues arise that you might want to be prepared for in advance. This is not fear-mongering in any way. This is my own personal opinion, my own personal thoughts and beliefs on what could potentially happen based on what I'm already seeing happening in the streets. You know, you guys remember 2016, when Trump won in 2016, there were already things that were in the works, pre-planned, ready to go. But there wasn't the militarization of the left that you see now. And should you have a repeat of 2016 and 2020, I just personally feel that things could get a little bit out of control, and you just might want to be ready for it. Just put on your seatbelt. This channel is proud to be supported by the Firearms Policy Coalition. Make sure you check that link in the description box, become a member, and donate when you can, and be part of the fight for our Second Amendment rights. And by the USCCA. I've been a Platinum member for about 4 years now, and I gotta tell you, that's a card that you need in your wallet. It doesn't matter if you find the need to defend yourself outside of the home, or inside of the home, or while you're traveling. If you find the need to defend yourself, the USCCA will be there to defend you. They will send a lawyer your way, and they will defend you through the entire process. And it does not cost that much per month. I'm a Platinum member, happy to be. So check that link down below, become a member yourself. So back in March, when people started getting locked down and, you know, toilet paper started flying off the shelves and water and food and things like that were in a shortage, I really started evaluating my situation a little bit more. Not only evaluating the food and water and supplies that I had, but also evaluating my security. And at that time, I'll be completely honest with you, I found a lot of holes in my security, a lot of voids, a lot of things that needed to be done that just weren't done. And then when I felt like, hey, you know, there's a possibility that this could get out of hand, I was kind of rushing to fill those voids. And I think there's probably a lot of people out there, even if they won't admit it, that were probably like me, making sure that things were zeroed in, making sure that I had things in different locations just in case. You know, it was one of those things where I was looking at the amount of water that I had and figuring how many days would that last and how long would the food last, and really just kind of, it threw me into reevaluating everything that I had set up. But now that I've gone through that, I can kind of reevaluate myself for what could potentially happen after the election. So the way that I see it is, with the country as polarized as it is right now, regardless of which way this goes, okay, it doesn't matter if the left wins or if the right wins, there's going to be one of those polarized groups that's going to be super angry. And it really depends how angry and how far they're willing to go to accomplish whatever goal it is. And typically the goal is to maintain their way of life and their authority and their power. The thing is when you look at those people that are conservatives and stuff on the right, conservatives tend to be more conservative, and conservative in most every way, meaning that we don't just jump headfirst into things and, you know, do stupid stuff and blow up on a whim. And, you know, we don't just watch what we see on TV and just take it for what it is and get all upset and pissed off about it. And I'm speaking in general terms here. We tend to think about things and we look at the facts and we try to make our own opinions, whereas the left seems to really work off of emotion. You know, emotion is the biggest driving force on the left that I can see, and that emotion typically goes from one level to the next level almost immediately. And so you can see that if one side wins over the other, I believe that the left has probably a higher chance of just absolutely losing it, so to speak. And so it could take things that right now are at an extremely polarized level and take it to the next level. And I don't think that any of us want to see that next level actually happen. But if it does happen, what things should you be evaluating right now so that you could be prepared? What's the list supposed to look like if you are trying to get ready for what could happen after the election? So the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to evaluate your current security setup. And what I mean by that is not just, the defensive tools that you're going to use, but things that will help you be prepared should something come your way, like exterior cameras. Exterior cameras are a very big deal, and I decided to up my security camera game by adding several cameras around the house in different locations that all have night vision and motion sensors and things like that. So if anybody was to approach my house, I would know about it beforehand. I get alerts on my phone, I get alerts on my different devices, and it lets me know that, hey, a single person or a group of people are getting near my house. And then I can go ahead and I can take a look and I can evaluate and assess the situation at that time before I'm rushing to grab something in the middle of the night. I can go ahead and I can look and say that, okay, these guys look like they're up to no good. They're coming up to the front door. Let's get ready for something, right? So evaluating your external security around even your apartment. If there's a way that you could put a camera outside your apartment, that's something that I would do. I would find a way to get a camera system around wherever you are so that you have a heads up before anything happens. And then evaluate your internal security as well. We all want to get to those things that are going to defend us. One of the tactical instructors that I had years ago was smart enough to say that if you have something to defend yourself, it should never be more than just 3 seconds away max. Okay, it shouldn't take you more than 3 seconds to get to that tool. So let's say that something happens, somebody's kicking down the door, somebody's coming in, somebody broke a window, whatever it is, right? You have a specific amount of time to react to that situation. And the last thing you want to do is try and remember where and how to get to something. You want to have things in specific areas around your dwelling that you can get to from any area within that 3 second time period. That just makes sense to me. So you hear something happen, it's immediate, you have to react now, you have just a matter of seconds to get to something, or else you're just out of the game. And that's, I think, a very important part of security, is having quick access to something at just about every location in your house. And if that means that you might have to spend a little bit more money in order to do that, I think that it's worth it, right? But you want to be able to do it in a safe way. If there's kids, if there's other people in the house that can access them, that you don't want to access them, you have to consider all of those different things, but try and find the best scenario possible to allow you access to those things in a very quick amount of time. And the other thing that you want to consider too is, I know a lot of people that own several different tools, to defend themselves, but those people never have anything loaded in a magazine. The magazines are all empty. So they'll have a bunch of things sitting here and a bunch of things sitting there, and nothing's ready to go. A magazine that's empty is just a paperweight. That's all it is. You're not going to sit there and say, hang on 1 second, let me go ahead and load this magazine up. Let me go ahead and grab a magazine and find a box and open the box and load that up. No, you want to have those things ready to go, and you want to have extras. It's as important as getting to your tool in a specific amount of time. You want to have those things 100% completely ready to go. I don't mean that it has to be, cocked and locked ready to go. What I mean is the tool should be complete. Okay, if you have a socket wrench but no socket, then you just have a socket wrench, which is just a hammer. It's an incomplete tool. You have to have the entire tool ready to go. So have those things in consideration as well. So that's what I would say for security. Have external security if you need to, have internal security, and have those tools available to you at a moment's notice. Now, I know there's going to be people out there too that are going to ask about body armor and should you have body armor. Well, I personally have body armor for every member of my family, and then I have some extra just in case. So it depends on your financial situation. If you can't afford body armor, then you can't afford body armor. You just have to do without. If you can afford body armor, then yeah, why not? Why not have it? It's a passive way to defend yourself. If something comes your way and it hits that, it's going to stop it. It's going to save your life. Why not have something there that could possibly save your life? So when it comes to body armor, if you can afford it, have it. If you can't afford it, don't, break yourself to try and get something. That's the way that I look at that. As far as medical supplies is probably the one thing that people just forget about the most. The ability to treat something should something bad happen. There's times where somebody comes in and maybe you are engaging with them, right? And you get hurt, they end up running off, but guess what? You're still hurt. And in a situation where, maybe there's no law enforcement, you could be on your own for quite some time. And so having people that are around you, or yourself having the proper training in how to use a tourniquet and how to use basic medical supplies is always a plus. There's plenty of videos that you can watch here. I recommend you go over to the Skinny Medic channel. He's been putting out great content for years. He'll teach you how to use a tourniquet. He'll teach you how to stop the bleed. He'll teach you how to do these different things so that you can practice on your own and become proficient on your own. But at least have those tools as well. It's one thing to be able to fight back, but if the fight comes to you and maybe you lose, what do you do now? You want to make sure that you have that medical too, which now leads us to the next thing, food and water. Okay, so food and water. Now, obviously, water is the one that you're going to want to pay attention to the most, because you can last a lot longer without food than you can without water. And once you're severely dehydrated, it's really hard to come back. I was so severely hydrated once that even a small sip of water from a cap instantly made me throw up. I started hallucinating. I was having all sorts of problems, and if it wasn't for medication and IVs, that could have been it. Kidney failure, heart failure, all sorts of stuff can come from not having enough water. And so that's got to be your main focus. And then learning how to use that water efficiently. Reusing water, filtering water, boiling and reboiling water, not using water to clean yourself if there is no water available. For instance, if the faucets are shut off because nobody's going to, the plants to work because things are just too crazy for people to go to work, and there's no clean water coming through the faucet, you don't want to take a gallon of water and share it amongst 3 or 4 people to try and shower yourself. Best thing to do, buy a whole thing of baby wipes. Buy a bunch of baby wipes, use those baby wipes to clean yourself off, to keep yourself from smelling stinky, right? Use those baby wipes. Don't use the life-sustaining water to pour on your body. But that is the most important thing, and you want to make sure that you have enough water for everybody in your house. A case of water, 2 cases of water, 3 cases of water isn't going to do it. If you're going to be going more than a week, you got to have a bunch of water. Even consider buying a 55-gallon poly barrel and filling up that 55-gallon barrel with water and then putting the cap on it and just setting that to the side. That's 55 gallons of water. Then you could start stacking up those cases of bottled water, gallons of water, jugs, whatever you need. But you'd be surprised how fast you go through water. Also, food. When it comes to food, non-perishables. It doesn't matter if you like it or not, okay? You want to go for the stuff like Spam, sweets like Twinkies. You want to go, and people might say, oh, you don't need to worry about the sweets. Well, BS, your body needs the sugar. And so it's good to have sugar. And if Twinkies are going to last forever, then you can have some Twinkies. And that way, it's going to raise morale, and it's also going to help your body, keep a certain level of sugar in it. But those non-perishables like Spam, like pasta, which you're going to have to cook in water, but then again, you can strain that water, put it back in the bowl, and cook pasta in it again later. Rice and beans. Rice and beans are a good combination of starches and proteins and things like that. That's why people keep rice and beans, and you can buy it for really cheap. Get a 20-pound bag, a 10-pound bag, put them in buckets, and just seal up the bucket with some desiccant packs and put those to the side so that you have rice, beans, pasta. You have, some type of meat product like Spam. It's going to give you that extra protein as well. Things like vegetables, lettuce, and stuff like that, it's just not going to last. Keep multivitamins around in order to take care of anything that you might have missed. So if you have good multivitamins for the kids, good multivitamins for the adults, those multivitamins will actually fill in the gaps that you're not getting from the food that you've stored. So, I know that these videos are kind of weird. I don't think we should be talking about this stuff. But in 2020, it's just been so crazy. I feel like the potential for anything to happen is there. And if this video even sparks just a couple people to reevaluate and rethink their situation before November, which is coming up in just a couple months, then that works out fine for me. I don't even care if I get criticism. I think that the potential for something is there, and it's always best to be prepared. So I want to thank you all very much for watching. Please like, subscribe, check those links down below. Have a great day.